Good evening, everyone, and very warm welcome to the webinar Sustain, Grow, and Control Your Business by using SAP Business One. You're all logged in as listen only mode for 1 hour webinar. We will have an interactive discussion with 4 question and answer sessions after every 15 minutes. We want to make this an interactive session, so if there are any questions, please feel free to post your questions either in the chat box or question sections anytime. Your questions will be answered in one of the 4 question and answer sessions. You can also raise your hand during the question and answer session to speak out your question. If you face any issues in the audio or video, please post it in the chat box. Proceeding with today's session, we have Raman, CEO and founder of Emerging Alliance, who will take you through today's webinar. Now let's hear it from him.
Thank you, Divya. That was an excellent introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I sincerely and wholeheartedly thank all of you for taking time and effort to come down to this webinar. As the name goes, I decide this webinar is not about us, or it's not about an SAP Business One product. It is about you. It is about your questions, your clarifications, or your doubts that you have, which we will be answering in this particular webinar. So we should get started. To make this webinar as much interactive as possible, as Divya said, we have 4 sections. Each section will have a Q&A session so that we don't have to wait until the end of the session to ask the clarifications and doubt you have. So we'll stop and we'll take questions and then we'll answer it then and there. Okay. My only request is, ladies and gentlemen, keep it as much interactive as possible and collaborative as possible to bring the best out of this webinar. So we'll push through. I'm in the first slide right now. So my name is Raman and I'm from this company called Emerging Alliance. And we have a simple mission, and that is to help customers like you to run at your best with innovative enterprise solution. And we are an SAP partner in India as well as globally. And we are going to talk about SAP Business One E in this particular presentation. Moving on to the next slide. So the agenda is very, very simple. So we're going to take some time discussing about what is SAP Business One E, and then how SAP Business One E is a problem solver. As I told you, there are a lot of questions that we have received from the audiences. We have compiled all those questions and we will be helping you understand how SAP Business One as an ERP can solve all those problems. And then finally, we'll also help you understand various options available for buying and using SAP Business One E. And then finally, a bit about us in the last few slides, and we'll have some question and answers at the end. So that's the simple and straightforward agenda that we have for the day. Now, before we get started with this particular slide, I just wanted to let you know that a lot of people will know about SAP because SAP is the largest brand name in the ERP world. But some of you might not know that SAP has 2 or 3 products, ERP products. And definitely one of the SAP product is SAP ECC or S4HANA, which is used by all the large companies. Most of the Fortune 500 companies around the globe use SAP S4HANA or ECC. Now, this is a very expensive software and it goes and fits well into large companies where the user size is anybody like 5,000 or 6,000 users. Whereas the product that we are going to talk about today is SAP Business One. And this is specifically designed and developed for mid and small size customers in mind, where the user size is anywhere between 5 to 800, 900 customers. I repeat once again, 5 to 800, 900 customers. And this is easy to adopt, easy to implement, and off-the-shelf product. So the first thing that we wanted to explain is, rather than telling you what SAP Business One is, which might go hours together, we wanted to thrash out the myth about SAP Business One and tell you what SAP Business One is not. So the first thing is, SAP Business One is not expensive. So generally when people say SAP, oh, that's $1 million software, it will be charged in crores. No, that's not the case in SAP Business One. We are definitely going to reveal you the prices by user at the end of this particular session in the price plan section. So you can see it for yourself that it's a very affordable software. SAP Business One takes a long time to implement. No, that's also not correct. Okay, and product like SAP Business One can be implemented within 45 days for anywhere between 10 to 20 users to 4 months or 5 months, depending upon the user size. If you're like 100, 150 or 200 users, it might go up to 4 months or 5 months. SAP Business One is a white elephant. What do I mean by that? So it is not only expensive buying it, but it is also expensive maintaining it. No, that is also not true. So the total cost of operations or maintaining it is as low as 8 to 10% of the initial investment, which is far below when compared to any of the software products available in the market. Then the next myth is SAP Business One requires skilled operators or skilled technicians to operate it. No, that's also not true. To be frank, we have companies where machine operators work on SAP Business One. The user interface is so very simple. And to put a blank answer to it, it's like anyone who operates a software, a smartphone can operate it. SAP Business One has a long ROI, or you never get an ROI back. No, that is also wrong. Anywhere between 18 to 24 months is an ROI period for SAP Business One. And the last one is it takes a lot of bucks to get things integrated with SAP Business One. No, SAP Business One comes with off-the-shelf integration plugins wherein any mobile app, any web app, or any third-party software like weighing machines or whatever it is can be easily integrated. So that's the slide which basically explains you what SAP is not. Then I will quickly go into the next slide where I'm trying to explain you what is this SAP Business One E. E stands for enhanced. Okay. So SAP has got this product, SAP Business One. Okay. And this product is available in market since 2000. It's been 21 years right now since this product is there. And our association with SAP with regards to this product has been for more than 15 years. So for a period of 15 years, we have implemented this product for 100 plus customers globally. So what happens is there are certain features and functionalities which SAP Business One doesn't have, but we as an implementer or solution provider have developed it for our customers. When we develop it, what we do is we make sure that the next customers who come on board with us get those features and functions absolutely free. So the SAP product, SAP Business One product is something which we only have it, and it has an enhanced function. We have more than 1,500 features added on top of SAP Business One. So that comes like a total market differentiator. Now let's see what are the additional features, functionalities that we have added on top of SAP Business One to make it a really differentiated product in market. So at the core, we have this SAP Business One where almost all the functionalities required by a company is covered. So that's the core. Now, this core needs to be extended. What do I mean to say that? So every software, SAP is definitely an expensive software. Now, if and when it has to be given to all the employees, like operators, like all the employees in the company, then what happens is you cannot afford to have a license for everybody. So you can extend it as a web application or a mobile application. So we have web applications wherein sales employees from outside the company basically log in and put in their data. We have mobile applications to track sales employees, service personnel, and stuff like that, which once again is integrated with SAP. There are people who say, look, I also want my vendor to access my SAP information. Like when I release a PO, they should be able to see it on their portal. When they send the material, I should be able to see it. When there's something rejected or accepted, they should be able to see it on the portal. When I make the payment, they should get a notification. Stuff like that are taken care in vendor portal. Similarly, customer portal. My customer should be able to place the order through a portal itself. I don't want him to send a mail or make a phone call. Stuff like that. And today, it's a world of e-commerce, wherein if you have a B2C kind of business, you want an e-commerce website to be available, and that e-commerce website can also be linked with SAP Business One. So these are certain things where SAP Business One Enhanced is really extended the SAP B1 capability to larger audience. And finally, if you have extended it, the next step is, look, there are a lot of people who are working on these features and functionalities. Can I remove the people and can I automate it? So the automation is the next thing that comes in place. So we have robotic process automation in place, wherein certain activities which are very clerical in nature, which are very repetitive in nature, can be done by SAP B1E itself. For example, vendor payment. So we have done it for a customer wherein the vendor sends an invoice to an email ID. SAP B1 automatically opens the email, opens the attachment, looks into the PDF, notes down the PO number and the items for which the invoice has been created, checks in SAP if that PO is available and what is the quantity for which the delivery and invoice has been made, and passes and makes an AP invoice, accounts payable invoice, or what is called as a payment voucher, and keeps it ready for the user to come and approve it. So this might take like 3 or 4 employees in that company do it, which has been completely automated. So the imagination is limited. You can run any kind of automation using these tools. That is also part of our solution that we are offering here. So that is SAP Business One for E for you in quick. And then we have the good news is SAP Business One can be declared as a suit in a box, meaning to say it has all the features and functionalities built into one single software. As I told you, everything starting from CRM, sales to purchase, production planning, inventory, service, after sales service, banking, finance, HR, mobility, and add-on. Meaning to say, when you come into a platform like SAP Business One E, you don't have to go for one more service provider. Everything comes pre-packed in one single package. The next one is scalability. Now there'll be always this doubt in this mind. Well, today I am 10 user company, 100 user company. Tomorrow I'll become 200, 400 user. Is this software where what I'm implementing or investing, is it scalable? Yes, the answer is it is scalable. Scalability not only in one aspect, multiple aspects. Meaning to say, administrative scalability. What is that? You can start multiple branches, multiple legal entities. So you can use the same SAP Business One login to create multiple companies. Functional scalability. You can add as many features as possible. That's what I was talking in the previous slide. I don't have this feature. I want to add it. I want to add a new industry feature. All those things can be added. Still, it is scalable. Geographic scalability. You can start company in India or multiple countries. So multiple countries in the sense they will have different localizations, different taxations. Even that is available in SAP. So you don't have to buy different softwares when you're starting companies in different locations. Load scalability. If I increase my number of employees from 50 to 100 to 200. So we have demonstrated something like 600 users using SAP Business One. Whereas in the world, there are a lot of people who have done 800, 900,000 employees also. So the system is completely scalable in terms of load. So this software has the scalability function and aspect taken into consideration. So this is more about SAP Business One E that we're talking about. I'll stop here to see if there are any. We have a poll coming up first. Just to keep the session interactive, we have a poll. I would request that everyone takes a poll. This is a simple poll, a simple question where you have to say yes or no. And we're also going to take a small break for next 5 minutes to see if there are any questions with regards to whatever I have discussed right now. Over to you, Syed, for the poll. I request the audience just to encourage us and motivate us. If you can say an yes or no, that means a lot for us. Request the audience to just okay. Divya, meanwhile, you can just take any questions if you have, which is coming through chat or through question session.
Sure. We have one question from Mr. Mohan. Just let the poll results come out, then we can answer the question.
Sure. Mr. Mohan, I'll be answering your question quickly. I think, Syed, we are good to go. Oh, that's excellent. That was very encouraging, ladies and gentlemen, that you found the presentation interesting so far. I mean, the second module is exactly where you've asked all your questions, which we'll be answering. But so far you have said an yes, that encourages us a lot. We will try to see if we can answer Mr. Mohan's question. What was the question, Divya?
He has raised a hand. Just let me ask him, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Mohan, can you just unmute yourself and ask me the question, sir? Okay.
I think that's Mr. Muhammad Ahmad who is asking the question, right?
Okay, it is another person, sir. So Mr. Muhammad is asking, while implementing SAP Business One E, is it possible to keep an on-site server instead of cloud solutions?
Oh, that's an interesting question and a very good question, sir. I will be answering that anyhow in a detailed way in the future slides, but to answer it quickly, you have all the choices open. You can have your own server, which is on-premise server, or you can go for a cloud server also. Both the choices are there. Okay, I think that answers Mr. Mohammad's question. If Mr. Mohan is not available to take the question, probably we'll ask him to put it in the chat, or we'll take the question towards the end of the session. We'll move on. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So far, it's been a great session. We'll move on. The next section is about the features and functionalities available in SAP Business One. Now, this part, as I told you several times before, this webinar is not about us or not about SAP. It is about your clarifications and your doubt. So you have decided that what needs to be spoken in this particular webinar. So we had received a lot of problems that you're facing, a lot of questions and clarifications, which we have compiled it. The way we have compiled it is we have compiled it by module. Like there are 4 people who have asked questions regarding sales. We have put that in sales module. There are 7 people who have asked question in banking and accounting. We have put it in banking and accounting module. So we have segregated it by module. So I will not waste any of your time by going into each and every module and telling these are the list of features available. If anything like that is required, we can always have a one-on-one session, but we will try to answer all the questions and clarifications that people had raised. So I'll go module wise first. So I'm in the first module. So you can see that this is the standard CRM module available in SAP Business One. All the CRM functionalities which are standard available in market, might it be Salesforce or Oracle, anyone, these are all standard available in MD functionality, and it is also available in SAP Business One, like marketing activities, email marketing, salesman visits, lead management, inquiry management, competition, channel and dealer management system, Salesforce management, sales performance. So these are all macro level features and functionalities available in the CRM module. Now let's go to the problems that are solved by SAP Business One. These were the questions which were raised. So one of the most frequent questions raised was, I am not able to track what my sales employees are doing, where they are going, who they are meeting, what are the new customers they are adding, what are the new prospects they are adding, how many visits they are making. I'm not able to see it. How do I get it done? So that was one of the questions. So this is I'm going to explain it with a case study. Like we have done this at a company called Racktech. So Racktech is a shipbuilding or repairing company. So what they have done is they have implemented SAP B1 E, where there is a field Salesforce tracking option available. So what it does, every field personnel can book his attendance, at what time he's starting his day, and what was the location where he has given his attendance, and what are the visits he are making. So he might go to customer A, he will log in into customer A and log out of customer A. So the system can tell you whether that person has really gone to customer A or not. So there's a check-in and check-out. Once he check out, he has the capability to type the remark, what was the discussion done. Not only that, he can create an inquiry, he can create a sales quote, or he can create a sales order right from his mobile app itself. Not only create it, he can also send it as a mail from his mobile app itself. and the back office, which is using an SAP, will get a notification that so and so person has asked for so and so order, and the delivery can be done. So it not only tracks is just the minor portion of the entire application, whereas it really empowers the salesman to do a lot of job when he's on the move. So that's what field sales tracking does. So that was one of the question. Customer acquisition and inquiry conversion. Some of the questions that were asked is, how do I know every month how many new customers or how many new leads and prospects I'm getting, and how much of that is being converted into business? Or how many inquiries that I'm getting, how many am I losing, how am I converting into business? Yes, the same thing has been done at Ractech. What they have done is they have used SAP to basically tell them every month how many new leads are brought into their system. Because for a growing business, it is just not enough if you serve your regular existing customers. You'll have to add new prospects and leads, and you'll have to make sure that you convert those leads and prospects into customers. So the system very clearly tells you month on month how many new leads were added and how many of those were converted into customers. So it gives you a complete track record whether you're really improving month on month the lead acquisition and conversion. Not only that, inquiry. This company Ractech, what they have done is they have mandated inquiry creation in SAP, meaning to say without an inquiry you cannot create a quote or an order. So what does this functionality does? So at the end of the month, it gives them a report saying that, look, boss, you have received 100 inquiries in this month, out of which you have quoted 70 inquiries, out of which you have converted 10 into order. So the system very clearly tells you what is your conversion ratio. For every 100, you get 10 orders, which gives you a lot of power and strength to basically extrapolate this number. Meaning to say, I have 5 sales employees, I'm getting 100 inquiries, 10 orders. If I increase 10, then obviously the inquiry should become 200 and my order should become. So the extrapolation becomes very much fact-based and data-driven. So that is what can be done here. And then the last one is response time, poor response time. So there were some of the people who had raised this question like, look, I'm getting an inquiry, my people forget to answer it, because of which what happens is I lose that inquiry. So how do I improve my response time? So in Ractech, what they have done is using SAP B1E, they have created something called as response time escalation. So if an inquiry is created and within 24 hours or 48 hours, if it is not responded back through a quotation, what happens is the system starts escalating to the next level manager. If not done in next 10 days or 20 days, it escalates to the higher up manager, so on. So you can have like 6 or 7 levels of escalation. Not only that, it generates a report that what are the list of inquiries which are not answered for past 2 days, 10 days, 20 days. We call it as inquiry aging report. So even it can generate that. So that's excellent features which basically solves these 3 questions which were raised by the audience available in this group today. Definitely, if you have any further questions, we'll be more than happy to take it in the question and answer session for people who have not who forgot to ask these questions before. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next module, which is the sales module. So I finished the CRM. The next one, sales module. As everyone knows, standard sales functionalities like estimation, sales order, contract, gross profit analysis, delivery, delivery schedule management, stock analysis, mobile approvals, sales return, all of these are standard functionalities available. And then I'll go to the questions which were asked in this section or in this module. So the first problem that most of the people had asked was, we miss on following up the quotation. Like I have a quotation created, I follow up 5 or 6 quotation, but I forget 4 or 6 quotations. How do I make sure that my employee follow up? And then approving quote or order is a big cumbersome job. So someone has to print it and sign it, or an online approval is difficult. How SAP Business One can help. The third one is product costing and gross profit analysis. Now, all of these were achieved in this company called Leader Healthcare, which is a hospital and medical equipment manufacturer. So what they have done with respect to the first one, whenever a quote is created in SAP Business One, Leader had configured it in such a way that it will create a reminder. To make it very simple, I create a quote. Once I say post the quote or add the quote, there will be a pop-up which will come, which will ask me, what is the reminder date for this quote? When do you want me to remind you for the next pop-up or the next date? So you put a date and time. On that date, there'll be a pop-up which will come. Suppose you don't, your follow-up is not successful, and the customer says, "Come back to me after another 10 days." The system will generate one more follow-up on top of the previous follow-up, which will say that what is the next date. So it might have 4 or 5 follow-ups, and you can even have a report saying that for this quotation I've done 20 follow-ups, and the follow-ups were on so and so dates. So the system kind of pushes you to follow up, so you don't have to remember things. The system will push you to do the follow-ups. So that is even possible. Approvals, once again, these approvals, the quotation approval or order approval, they can come to your mobile phone. So if you're using an Android phone or an iOS phone, it can come to your mobile phone. You can approve it from your mobile, reject it from your mobile phone, or it can come to your laptop, desktop also. Then finally, gross profit analysis. Now, what do you do when you are approving a quote or an order or an invoice? You basically check what is the selling price minus the cost price and how profitable you are, right? So that the system itself can do. You can right click and ask the system to tell you how profitable you are at a quotation level or at a line level. So it can tell you whether you are whether you are profitable or not. At leader, they have taken it a step forward, meaning to say if a quotation is created at a gross profit which is not acceptable to a management, you can say any quotation I create, I need to have 25% margin. If it is lesser than that, don't allow the user to create it. So it will throw an error. They have taken it to that level wherein they are preventing people from making a quotation which is lesser than the set gross profit margin. Not that they cannot create it. They can always create it with an exceptional approval. So these were some of the problems which were solved, some of the questions which were asked in the sales module that we have answered through a use case itself. Can we proceed? I'm sorry. I'll go to the next one, which is the purchase module. And in the purchase module, same thing. We have purchase request, RFQ, purchase history, purchase order, and so on. You can see these are all the functionalities available. So we will quickly go into the questions that were asked in the purchase module. So some of the questions that were asked was, I raise a PR or a PO is created for a particular ordered quantity. I need to know the status. Let me explain you the question once again. So if I am a person who is raising a purchase request, someone else is going to purchase it for me. I mean, the purchase department will do it. Now I want to understand for the purchase request that I've raised, what is the status? Has the material come? Has the order been placed? So SAP, what it does is, whoever is the person who is raising a purchase request, if you feed in their email ID, so if a purchase request is converted into purchase order, it will send them a notification saying that your request has been converted into an order. If a purchase order, if the purchase order against the purchase order, if the material is received, it's once again sending them a message saying that the purchase request which you sent for which the material have arrived. So it gives you a status update. And then not only that, when you are doing a stock analysis, there'll be something called as ordered stock, meaning to say it is not there in your stock, but it is showing in ordered status. So let's say that there are 20 numbers in ordered status. You can always click on that 20 and the system will tell you this 20 numbers is arriving through which purchase order and on what date. So it allows the user to understand when is the purchase material going to come in. So that is one excellent functionality that B1 has, and Hanbo appliances have implemented it. You also have an RFQ feature. So most people ask, like, I have an RFQ, so I send RFQ, request for quotation, to 6 or 7 vendors, and they send me the details, and I have to compile it in an Excel, and I have to compare it and submit the report. Is there any method which you can do it in SAP Business One? The answer is yes, and it's been implemented in Hanbo. What Hanbo does is, whenever there's a purchase request, they blast it or publish it to multiple vendors, and the vendor, when they give the prices, SAP, you can enter the prices in SAP, and SAP will build a matrix wherein it will tell you what are all the list of prices that you have received from different vendors for an item, who is the cheapest of all, and who is the earliest of all delivery. And it will tell, and it will even recommend you to whom should you place the order, and it will also retain an audit trail. If you are going to give an order to a certain person, on what basis did you give this order? Was it because of cheap cost or earlier delivery? The last one is landed cost. So a lot of people had explained that we have issues entering landed cost. We are not able to book it against the material when it is received during the when it is received at our stores. So SAP Business One has a functionality called landed cost. If you mandate it, it will not allow you to receive any material without booking the landed cost. What do I mean by landed cost? The shipping cost or the loading, unloading charges or freight and insurance charges. Generally, if your material cost is 100 rupees, then definitely there'll be 13% of it will be the landed cost. So you need to book it. So what happens when you book it is the system not only considers the purchase price but also considers the landed cost price. So the value of the material becomes from 100 to 113. So when you do a gross profit analysis, it is the selling price minus the landed price. So your GP is more accurate in that case. So that functionality is also there, and it's already implemented in a company called Hanbo. They are reaping the benefits for it because they are importing a lot of stuff. The next module that we'll go is inventory module, and in inventory, once again, the standard functionalities like multiple warehouses, bin location, batch number, serial number, stock valuation, pricing matrix, physical counting or stock counting, alternate items, barcode, all these are there. We'll quickly go into the questions that people had asked regarding inventory module. This is the highest question that we received. How do I do material traceability? We have a lot of issues. We are doing it manually. We are doing it in Excel. There's too much of confusion. These were the type of questions that we had received. So I will tell you how it was done in Indus Life Sciences, which is basically a pharma company. And you know that pharma company have stringent compliance and regulations, and material traceability is a must for them. So what they have done is they have used SAP Business One once again to make sure that traceability is ensured. Traceability starts all the way from supplier supplied raw material. So a raw material comes in. When you say that this raw material is batch number, serial number managed, then you cannot bring in the material into your stores without giving the batch number. When you give the batch number, automatically the date of manufacturing of that particular batch, the date of admission, the date of expiry, all those things can be loaded. So what happens is the system now knows which are the things which are going to expire in next 30, 60, 90, 100 days, and it can give you an expiry report also. And it can start doing first in, first out, meaning to say push in the old stock first. Now, once the material has come into the stock, when you issue the material to the production order, that is when a raw material is getting converted into finished goods. So the system has a capability where it records what are all the batch number which will issue to production. And when the production is completed, a finished goods is produced, all this raw material batch number are tied to the finished goods batch number, which in turn is replicated or printed on the customer invoice. So the entire chain is now completely traceable. So if the customer says, look, I have received a batch which is having some issues, all you do is ask him the batch number. If you put that batch number in SAP, it will track and it tell you that this batch is coming from this invoice, and this invoice is coming from this production order, and this production order is basically coming from this material supplied by the supplier. So all the way from customer to supplier, 100% the traceability is ensured. The next question that was asked was bin location. So how do I ensure that the bin locations are given? Is there a bin location functionality available? Yes, it is there. Every stock can be earmarked to a location, and which will improve your traceability and retrievability. Finally, stock counting. Stock counting is a big issue. How can we automate it? Physical counting of stock is difficult to automate because you have to use manpower to count it. But what can be done is SAP has functions where you can apply a 80-20 principle, meaning to say 20% of your item in terms of count, which contributes to 80% of value. Some companies do it by A class item, B class item, C class item, something like that. So A is the most expensive item. So it allows you to do a stock count for A class item alone, wherein the stock value is very, very high, or in terms of value, it's very high. So you can do it for that, and you can take it a step ahead, wherein you can even lock the system and tell that if the stock count for these A class item is not done every month or every quarter, don't allow it to be issued or to be accepted inside the store. So the system will lock, and it will force your people to do stock count, which is a good sign to match the stock available in the system to the actual count available in your shop store. So that's on inventory. I'll just quickly go to the next one, which is production. So once again, functionalities, work order, bill of material, bill of quantity, shortage management, store issue, store return, production variance, production routing, raw material reservation, capacity planning, maintenance of machine. These are all something which are available in production features. As I told you, I'm not going to spend time discussing the features. I'm going to explain you all the questions that you have asked. If you want us to explain the features, we can have a separate one-on-one call. That's just a reminder. So problem solved in production, and most of the questions that were asked, I want to understand what is the material shortage before I start my production. I think the question is coming from the background that I have started the production. I cannot run the production because I have a lot of shortages. And if I have shortages, I do not know when I'm going to receive the material and stuff like that. So we have done these three questions, answered these three questions in a company called Emerald Tires, which is a tire manufacturing company. So what they have done is whenever they start a production order, the system has a capability to tell them, boss, look, these are the list of material required and these are the quantity, out of which this material are not available and these quantity are not available. It generates a shortage report. Not only a shortage report, it also tells you these quantities will be available on which date as per the commitment given by the purchase people. So what it helps the supervisor to do a super planning where he can say, okay, so this material is going to come on this day. Should I start the production or shouldn't I start the production? If I start the production, what are the compromises I need to make? What are the alternatives that I have to get in place? So it kind of equips the production supervisor to run the production pretty well. Probably these are something which is done today through a stand-up meeting or through collaboration or people calling on a phone. When will this come? And there are a lot of noise and confusion and stuff like that. These things can be avoided. And then you have production variance. Once again, a very critical question. One of the gentlemen had asked this, like when I'm doing my production order, how do I know whether I have produced it within a targeted cost or exceeding the target cost? So there is something called as a production variance feature in SAP. What it does is, once a production order is completed, you can basically ask the system to create a variance report. It will tell you as per the bill of material or as per what has been recommended, whether the production was done within the target or outside the target. Meaning to say, you don't have to wait until billing to find out whether you're making a loss in a particular production. You can check it at a production level itself. So the report will very clearly tell you whether the target is off the way or within the tolerance limit. Not only that, it can even give you a report at the end of the month saying that you have done 20 production orders in this month, out of which 5 is 10% and above variance, and rest are within tolerance, something like that. Operator log. There was a gentleman who had asked, can we do operator logs? Very much, sir. This is what we were talking in extending B1 capability. So we have done this in this company, wherein these are the details which the operator enters. The way we have done it is we have placed an very low configuration computer with a very simple UI in the shop floor. So what the workman does or the operator does is he comes to the system. He chooses his name, he chooses the work order on which he's going to work. He chooses his name and then he starts the clock. So the start time gets recorded. And then if there is anything called machine setup time and all those things, he enters that. And then finally stops the clock when the work is completed. He enters the quantity which he has produced, quantity, accepted quantity and rejected quantity also if it is required. And then he closes it. By this, the operator log is completely captured in the shop floor itself. There are no paper available. No one accumulates it and enters it at the end of the day. All those things are taken care. We go to an extent wherein we not only calculate the OEE of the equipment, but also for the operator. So I think that's on the production. Then we have the banking module, pretty standard features like incoming, outgoing payment, tax, BRS, GST, everything, which is pretty much what you do in your Tally or any other software. Let's look into the problems that this solves. Payment follow-up. I have heck a lot of time in following up payment. My people forget following up payment. So this was some of the questions that were asked. So what it does, there's a function in SAP B1E. What it does is, as soon as you create an invoice to the customer, the system will pop up and ask you for a reminder. So if you give a reminder, it can give you a reminder on that date. Or if you say, date minus 3 or target date minus 3. Like if it's going to, if the credit term is 30 days, on the 27th day, it will give you a reminder, or it will build a calendar wherein it will place it in the calendar. So every day morning, I come to the calendar, I can ask what are the list of payment due today, which I have to follow up. So it will give me the due. So you can have the system do the follow up for you. We have even advanced options called dunning, wherein the system will automatically send a reminder to the customer through a mail saying that this payment of this value and this reference number is going to be due in the next 3 days. Please make it on time. So once again, it depends whether your customer is mature enough to receive that kind of email, or they're going to get really crazy about the mail. So it depends on how do you want to do it. But the functions are there. Automated BRS, bank reconciliation system takes a lot of time to do. Can it be automated was the question. Yes, it can be. You can download the bank statement as in CSV or Excel. You can upload it in SAP. It will automatically reconcile based on 3 parameters. One is your reference number, the date, and the value. If one of the 3 doesn't match, then it will throw an error and ask you to do it manually. Automated vendor payment, yes, can we automate vendor payment? Yes, we can do it. In this company, C1 Water, what they do is once in every Friday, they make the payment. The system automatically creates a list of vendors who have to be paid on a Friday, depending upon the credit terms that you have agreed. And you can go into the list and you can say to whom you have to make the payment, to whom you have to not. And then based on that, it generates the payment advice and it posts the payment also. It goes to a point where it can even generate the list of payment to the supplier with an Excel output, which can be uploaded in the bank site, or into the or it can be given to the bank people to make a bulk upload. Finance functionalities like multi-currency, chart of account, fixed asset, budgeting, cost accounting, all these are there. Once again, top questions. One of the topmost question asked was, do you have budgeting? Yes, we have budgeting, and we have implemented this in one of the largest fisheries company in India. There are 3,600 crore company. So you can arrive the budget at an annual level. You can then finally distribute it at a month level and at a GL level, meaning to say electricity, this should be the budget. Employee welfare, this should be the budget. Transportation, this should be the budget. So if anyone tries to spend more than the budget, the system will lock and ask for approval. Cost accounting. Once again, can I see P&L at a branch level, at a division level, or at a department level, or at a product line level? Everything is available. You can do a cost accounting. Like this company, Fisheries, they are mainly into fish, and they had 4 or 5 products. So they had fresh fish, they had ready to cook foods. They wanted to see a P&L at a product level. So they are doing it, and they're seeing what is the profit and loss by product. And projected cash flow. Can I project my cash flow and see in the future, week wise, whether I have cash in hand, whether it's a surplus or a deficit? Yes, you can do it. System has a capability depending upon your incoming payment credits and outgoing payment credits. It can tell you what are the list of payments which you will receive next week, the week after that, and what will be your stock, what will be your cash position at the end of the week. So it can do that also. Service for people who do after sales service. There's a complete module available which captures warranty lapse. Yes, the complete warranty module is captured here. You can do it. And service call escalation. So if you get a service call and it is assigned to a particular technician and he basically forgets to do it on time or he delays it, you can set up an escalation like you have done it in your earlier modules. Solution knowledge base. Once again, if you close a service ticket, you can enter saying that I have solved this ticket using this particular spare or this particular solution. The system remembers it. So if there is a service problem which comes in the future, it can tell you that last 10 times, 20 times, this service with this keyword problem has come. These were the solutions provided and these were the spares which was replaced. So kind of bringing building the service knowledge base into place. And finally, the last module, which is, I couldn't get a module which, so I put all the other features and questions in this. So people had asked me, is there DMS, document management system? The answer is yes. It's done in a big way in this company called Styro, which is a manufacturer of styrofoam. So what they do is any screen in SAP Business One E has an attachment option. So let's say that a supplier is supplying you a material. He also gives you an invoice. You can attach the invoice in the GRN screen. so that it is available for the person who's approving the invoice to see. So if there's a customer who is giving you a PO, you can attach it in the sales order screen. If there's a item for which you need to attach a brochure, you can attach it. If there's an inquiry mail which comes in, you can take a copy of that mail and you can attach it. For that matter, anything can be attached. It can be photographs, it can be video. We have one of the companies called C1 Water, wherein the inspection procedure itself has been videographed and attached in the item. So if I want to do an inspection, I just go play the video which is attached in the item. It tells me how should I inspect it, and then I close the video and I do the inspection. So imagination is the limit. You can attach anything you want. Mail integration. Yes, it is integrated with your mail. It can get integrated with any mail, Gmail, Yahoo, or Office 365. Analytics and dashboard. This is something which SAP is very much proud of. All the SAP modules come with analytics and dashboard. The good news is there are like 70 or 80 standard dashboards available which you can drag and drop. On top of it, you can even create your own dashboards if you want. So for more details in dashboard, I think we should go for a dedicated session. So if you have any questions regarding that, you can always have us have a one-on-one call and explain you on that. Every screen has an analytic function so that you can get to see various analytical reports with respect to a screen. So we'll stop here. I think that was a pretty fast section, but still I think there were so many questions. I just wanted to make sure that I answer all of those and cover it out. So we will stop here to take a poll question. Once again, Syed, over to you. See if you can bring up the poll. And meanwhile, audience, if you have any questions, please type in the chat section. We will answer it right away, right now. And even the question session. And if you want to ask the question for yourself, please raise your hand. We'll unmute you. So please answer this poll question. Was the session so far informative? As I told you, this session is not about us or not about SAP Business One. It is about the questions that you had asked, and we are trying to make sure that we answer those questions. Will it help you to improve your business? Please give in your poll. This will be of great encouragement to us. Excellent. I think we'll go on to the questions right now.
We have hand
Thanks.
raised from Mr.
Okay.
Light. So just let me check.
If you can unmute him, he can answer the question.
Mr. Laiju, you are unmuted. You can ask it.
1 second.
Yes, Mr.
Can we archive the item master data?
Excellent question, sir. The answer is yes, you can archive it. The frequency can be determined by you. Once in a year, once in 2 years, once in 3 years, you can always archive it and put it in a hard drive. And the option is also there that the archived information should not be always accessible, should be accessible only on request by certain people who are authorized. That can also be done.
Okay, sir. Is it a SAP functionality, or we need to customize it for add-on or kind of?
It is a standard SAP B1E functionality, sir. No customization required.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for that question. We have anyone else who's raising a hand for the question, Divya?
We have another question from Mr. Anand.
Okay.
Mr. Anand, you can
Background
unmute your.
noise. Yeah.
Can you
Yes.
integrate Tally with this?
Can you integrate Tally with this? The answer is yes, but there are a lot of riders in saying that yes. Like, why do you want to have two systems? After GST has come in, what happens is once you create an invoice in a financial system, this invoice will get replicated to the GST portal, and the GST portal will give you a token reference back. So if you're having two systems which is doing invoice, then it will become a mess. So you will have to either choose one system, or if you at the worst case, if you say no, I want a Tally because my auditor or my finance people are only comfortable with that, then what we always suggest is take a export of the SAP invoices or SAP transaction and import it in Tally. We have done this for certain companies who are desperate, saying that they want a Tally system in place. So we can do it.
You give the bridging also, like for.
Yes, sir. What we will do is, we know the input format of Tally. It is basically in HTML. So we will configure it in that format and will give you an Excel output. So there'll be a folder. If you put that Excel output in that folder, automatically the information will go inside Tally and will come in your Tally screen.
Is it again extra cost for customization, or it is a inbuilt activity?
No. It is not inbuilt. It's an extra cost because different Tally customer ask for different kind of function. Certain people say, I just need the invoices to be taken from SAP and put it here. Then that is a different cost. Certain people say, I don't want to do any download and upload, boss. I will have to integrate it live. Every time I'm creating an invoice there should be a parallel invoice created in Tally. There should not be any manual intervention. Then that's a different cost. So it's a customization only.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was an excellent question. Anyone else, Divya?
Yes, we have hand raised from Mr. Mohammed Ahmed. Just let me unmute you.
Well, that will be the last question because we have one more session and we have very restricted time. We'll have to finish it.
Mr. Mohammed.
We are in a manufacturing company.
Okay.
And my requirement is like we also have a service module that is tracking our activity, which means like we'll be selling a good and we'll be if there is any issues coming in the warranty, we'll be adding the details in the system. So there are cases like whenever we invoice, we'll be giving the demos to a different customer and we'll be invoicing the different thing. So the thing is that in the service module, the equipment card will be generated when the first transaction is happening. So it is annoying that the person who is behind the service module doesn't understand why the equipment card is generated for a different vendor where the item has been invoiced for a different vendor. So that is an issue that we are facing. Is there any one-time solution for that? So each time we have to change the equipment card for each if there is any different choice.
No. Okay. So you are using very standard SAP terminologies like equipment card and stuff like that. So I assume that you're already using SAP or any other ERP software.
No,
so I'll answer you this question.
We are using Business One.
Oh, excellent. Then, sir, this might require a detailed answer, which I can have a one-on-one call with you, but I will answer you how the standard SAP function works. Okay, sir. Now, when you say an equipment card, it means that the equipment should be serial number activated. Only then an individual equipment card will get generated. Because what happens is equipment card is nothing like a warranty guarantee card. So each and every equipment that you sell out of your company should have a equipment card, which is specific to a particular serial number. What you are saying will not happen. I can look at your system and I can advise you what has went wrong. If you want me to do that, we can do on a one-on-one call. But generally what happens is, in the invoice, when I put the serial number and I generate the invoice, automatically the equipment card will get generated and it will be unique. It will be only one equipment card for one serial number. And when I do any kind of service for that particular equipment or serial number, all my service calls, all my spares, whichever I have serviced for that particular equipment, will get recorded under that equipment card. Right now, I think I can only answer up to that particular point, sir. Probably we have noted down your name and we have your email ID. We will correspond with you once again on a detailed one-on-one session to give you a complete explanation, sir.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. Divya, if you can make a note of Mr. Mohammed, and then we will make sure that we get back to him, okay?
Yes, I have noted it down.
So quick, we will go to the next section. The next section is, okay, Raman, you told us what is SAP B1E. You told us what are the various features, what is the problem that you solve. Now tell us what are the various options available to buy and implement this software, okay? So I'll make it quickly. So there were some questions that people had asked in the first session. So SAP Business One E comes with various deployment options, meaning to say you can buy it. One deployment option is license type. Either you can buy a perpetual license, meaning to say one-time payment, the license is written in your name, or subscription license, meaning to say you will pay it on a monthly basis. And whether subscription or perpetual license, you can even store it in the cloud, which is like AWS or Azure, or you can store it in your own server. So all these options are there. The first one is perpetual on-premise, meaning to say one-time payment on your server in your office. Perpetual on your cloud, meaning to say one-time payment for the license, but you host it in any cloud service provider like Azure or AWS or any third-party cloud service provider. Subscription on-premise, meaning to say the license you will pay the rental, but you will put it in your server, which is available in your office. Subscription on cloud, meaning to say you will pay the subscription cost, but you will host it in any cloud you want. Or 100% subscription is also available, wherein both are rental, meaning to say these the license cost is also rental and the cloud cost is also rental. So all these deployment options are available. You can go for anything you want. So the advice would be like, when you are a small company, you cannot afford high budgets. Today's server are so very robust that you can buy a server on your own and you can hold it there. But when you become a large company, when you have 100, 200 users deployed across multiple locations, server management itself is becoming a headache. You have a separate department, separate person for that. Then you can always go for cloud. Then the next one is cost optimized license model. There are 4 different types of licenses which are available. You can see that there's a professional user, meaning to say it has access to all the features and functions, all modules. Then there's a limited user, wherein they are only allowed to access certain modules. There are 3 types of limited users: limited CRM, access to only limited CRM modules; limited sales, access to only sales modules; and limited finance, access to only finance modules. So limited user the cost is much lesser. And then you have web user, which is, you can tell boss, I have this user whose only job is to create sales order and sales quote, nothing else. So that can be done through a web user, which will be much cheaper. And then finally you have a mobile user, which will be much more cheaper, because in mobile user it is only accessible on mobile, and there are only few features which are accessible on mobile. So depending upon this, the price might vary. Once again, this chart is being shown to you to tell that there are various options of license available. Not necessary that everyone has to get the same type of license. Once again, this is price plan. Since we are running short of time, I'm just rushing. So an average 5 to 10 user, the price plan will be anywhere between 9 to 13 lakhs. That includes all the cost, which is license cost, implementation cost, the license cost, implementation cost, the AMC cost, and the support AMC cost, all the 4 together. What it doesn't include is the server, which is your choice. You can either buy your server on your own, or you can go for a cloud server. So for 11 to 20 users, it will be anywhere between 18 to 26 lakhs, and 21 to 30 users, it will be anywhere between 29 to 37 lakhs. And for 40 users plus, anywhere above 41 lakhs. And you can see also the timeline is given at the bottom. So 45 days for 5 to 10 users, 75 days for 11 to 20 users, 90 days for 21 to 30 users, and 120 plus days for anywhere which is 30 users plus. We'll stop here to see if we have any questions quickly. And that's the last section. And Syed will not be doing the poll. We'll straight away go to the question and answer session, because we're already above the time. Do we have any questions, Divya?
Yes, sir. We have a question from Mr. Nandakumar. He is asking how best suitable SAP Business One is for F&B industries.
Food and beverages, it very much is suitable for food and beverages. Once again, I need to know the detail. If you are basically food and beverage manufacturing or processing, like the Abad Fisheries example, they make ready to cook items, they make spices, then it's straightforward. But if you're talking about anything like restaurants, hotels and stuff like that, you will find SAP Business One to be slightly expensive. you will have a better software in the market. I don't mind saying that because that's the experience and that's the reality. You will get for the features and functionalities available in SAP, you can get a better software in the market. And that's why you will see that a lot of restaurants, hotels, and stuff like that, they don't use SAP Business One. Until unless you are a large chain of restaurants like McDonald's, then you will find that SAP Business One will be a good fit. Does that answer your question, sir? Excellent. Okay. Any other questions, Divya?
I have a hand raised from Mr. Mohan Krishnan also. Just let me unmute him. Mr. Mohan, can you just unmute yourself and say, sir? You can also type your question in the chat box or in the question session, sir. Okay. I have another question, hand raised from Mr. Mohammed Ahmed.
Okay.
Mr. Mohammed, can you ask your question, sir?
It's okay. I already asked regarding the while implementing SAP Business One, is it possible to keep an on-site server instead of cloud solutions? Like, you know, if you are using for a on-site premises solutions with the SAP Business One, we have to open all the ports. But right now you are aware of that attacks that is coming right now, especially targeting the servers which are open, like ransomware attacks. So how secure is this if you are using a third-party software while integrating the SAP for an external network?
Okay, super question, sir. That was something that I was expecting from most of the audience. It did not come. Off the late, we have been having a lot of malware attacks on open port. So generally what happens, sir, the answer is whether you are hosting your application and integrating third-party software on your server, which is in your office, or on a cloud server. Anyhow, you will have to open the port. When you open the port, there are standard procedures that we need to follow, like firewall, antivirus. If we follow that, and we have the right software like Casper or Symantec, these attacks should not happen. The only thing is the business community sometimes consider these malware attack as something which will not happen to us. We are very small. Why should it happen to us? But when it happens, you start panicking. So we don't require to spend thousands and millions to get that done. It is a simple activity. To start with, we can start simple, and then we can go and invest larger if you want to make it very secure. But to begin with, normal market available firewalls and antivirus itself will do the job. The only thing people complain about attack is because they leave their ports open without proper firewall and antivirus, and that's why these attacks happen.
I understand.
And there are standard SAP recommendations, or which are the port which have to be open. What are the list of antivirus and firewall you have available in the market which has to be installed? If you follow that itself, it's more than enough. You will be safe. Only if you say that I am NASA or I am ISRO, then there will be special hackers who will try to hack the antivirus itself. So I don't think we are that case. In that, we'll have to go for a lot of investments. We are not going to that extent. Normal antivirus firewall available in the market at a very throwaway prices are more than enough to protect you. Fine, sir. With that question, we'll move on. I think we're almost done. The last few slides was about us. We don't want to go into that because, as I told you, this meeting is only about you. So we'll keep it open, meaning to say, if most of your questions are answered and you think that our discussion really made sense and you're interested in a product like this and a company like us, you can always contact us, or we will definitely send you a feedback form. You can have a one-on-one session with us wherein we will be able to give you a customized demo, meaning to say, we will take your product and we'll do a complete order to cash and procure to cycle without any expectation of order or anything. I mean, it's just, we want to make sure that we are as much informative and as much educative as possible. So if you want, you can have a one-on-one call with us. With that, I will close the meeting. I think I have taken more than your time. I think 6 minutes more than what we have to take. After this, I leave it to the audience. If you want, you can stay back for further questions to be answered. Otherwise, we are good. Sayed, Divya, and Rachna. Is there something which I'm missing, or if you want to remind me, please go ahead and tell me. Otherwise, I'm good.
Yes, we are good. So thank you everyone for joining the webinar.
Thank you, everyone. So people who want to leave can leave. If
there are handouts at the briefcase, they can download if anything required.
Yeah. Divya, you have to tell about the handouts.
Yes. So everyone, we have the handouts available. It has our company profile and more about our product SAP Business One, and also our customers references. So you can have the contact handouts available in the screen. You can download it and you can reach us in the contact details given in the handouts.
We have one last question from Mr. Nand Kumar. He would prefer to have a detailed session and demonstration about all the features. So I believe surely we will definitely may have another session with full details whenever it's required. And he wanted to know that how SAP Business One is best suitable for F&B industries. So I believe, Mr. Raman, that SAP Business One definitely be also useful for the F&B industries as well, right?
Yes. So if you want, we can have a one-on-one session with you, Mr. Nandakumar, and we can take this forward. We'll have a detailed session with you.
Sure. So that's it. I think we are good to go. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining today with us. And have a good day ahead. Thank you all. The webinar ends here.
Thank you all.